While you were
Okay.
gone, Charlie showed me a baseball card. I guess it was your rookie year.
Yeah, my rookie year. Here it is. If you can see it on the phone at all, or you're on your camera. Right?
Yeah.
So I'll give you
That's
a quick.
fake. It's a fake card.
It's a fake card. You're right. It is. It is a random.
It's a real
this is
fake
rookie card from Bowman. I don't even know if Bowman's making any cards anymore. But as I was telling Tom, I got traded mid-season, but they decided to superimpose the Mariners logo on a Tigers uniform. So it looks as if I'm pitching at home, but the backdrop is Tiger Stadium. Like we had some random home game on the road in Detroit. So it's actually kind of hilarious. I was just reading over my skills too. It was actually kind of funny being like, oh, that's actually not that far off. Pretty good stuff. And then Tom said he was going to pull his card out to see what he got. What do you got, dude?
Well, I did. The same year, again, rookie card. Now, not nearly
textbook form.
Not nearly as exciting as Charlie's action shot. But I'm wearing Adidas shoes in this card, and I had a Nike contract, and it was the only game I ever wore Adidas shoes.
No way.
Yes. It happened.
Oh my God.
I couldn't wear my Nikes for some reason, or I didn't have them, and I wore these, and of course that's what they.
You got a phone call.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I got the phone call, and
oh my gosh, that's incredible.
You know, there's a couple of cards too. I remember, in spring it'll be 6 a.m. and Tops will come and we'll do photo shoots, for 5 minutes, like staring into the sun, and they take, I don't know, 50 to however many shots they take, and they chose just like this one, like not a smile or just a silly stinking face, and it's, I could be into that job. No, that's the shot we need on the card, as opposed to this one or that one.
Nice one. Yeah.
Yeah, you never know what card you're going to get. Totally.
All right.
Well, speaking of cards, I know this other guy you see on the screen is a card collector himself. He's accrued many boxes of cards over the years. So we want to get into it. We want to start the show this week. Welcome, folks, to another edition of the Late Innings Show. We are your hosts. I am Charlie Furbush. This is Tom Wilhelmsen down in AZ. This is a weekly podcast that we're going to continue to run out there each week. You're going to talk about a bunch of big league stories, some history, some current stuff, Mariner baseball, and plenty of laughs along the way. So go on YouTube, go hit that subscribe button and give us a follow wherever you get your podcasts. And we're on social media on Instagram and X, posting every week. So please engage with us. We'll be answering questions and engaging with you. So it'll be fun to drop clips every week and enjoy this ride. But Tom, tell us who we have today. The legendary,
one and only
legendary
Rick
man
Rizzs,
is
baby.
here.
Hey, good to see you, brother.
Hey, Charlie. Hi, Tommy. How you doing, guys?
Best, man. Good to see you. Thanks for hopping on with us.
Great to see you too. It's always a lot of fun spending time with you at spring training during the baseball season, being a part somewhat of your major league careers, which was always great to watch you guys pitch coming out of the Mariners bullpen. You guys had fabulous careers. But besides being great ball players, you're even better as people, and I love you guys. We always have a lot of fun.
The same. All the love right back to you. I can remember, getting to the big leagues, and everything is quite professional, and you're dealing with media staff, just people that have done this for forever. And for a newbie, it can be a little intimidating to like go to some of these banquets and ask questions on the fly. And Rick, you just made me, and I'm sure everyone else, feel so comfortable and easy and light. And it was so nice to feel that way when we're dealing with a little bit of anxiety on how we're supposed to come off or behave or act. And you were just so genuine and smooth and light, and just thank you so much for that every single time. And you're just a wonderful, wonderful human being and a legend, as Charlie mentioned earlier.
I'll tell you what, the wonderful thing about what we do, and you guys as major league players and myself as a broadcaster representing the organization, is we get a chance through those caravans and through the spring training get-togethers, roundtables, and other aspects of going around town, education day, things like that. Introducing you guys to the public, to the fans who listen on the radio, to the fans who watch you on TV and get to know you as people, and how thrilling that is for kids. I know I would have loved that as a kid growing up on the south side of Chicago, to see Ernie Banks come to my school or come meet him at the ballpark, or Louis Aparicio. So you guys were always willing to do that. You poured yourself out there. You had such a great personality and you had fun visiting with the kids. So they got to know you as people. So when they get to know you, they go, hey, I met Charlie Furbush. I met Tom Wilhelmsen. Who's your favorite Mariner? Well, it's Charlie Furbush and Tom Wilhelmsen. I remember as a kid growing up on the south side of Chicago, and the White Sox had this promotion with DX gas stations around the south side. And every so often, I guess on an off day or after an afternoon game, some of the players would go out to different stations. And I got a chance to meet Ken Berry, and Cam Carrion. And all of a sudden,
Cool.
those guys are my favorite players,
Cool.
because I actually met them and they signed an autograph for me in a picture. And so what you guys did was fabulous. It was so easy because you guys had so much joy. You were willing to do it, number one. You looked at it as, something that you needed to do to help connect yourself with the fans and for the ball club, obviously, as we went out and promoted the team. So you guys were always willing to do that. And what was great for me was that hopefully I earned your trust. And you go, hey, Rick's a pretty good guy. And anytime I asked you for an interview, you always said yes. And Charlie, in your case, Tommy, you're always willing to do bullpen banners, and Charlie, you became a star, doing that. So I thank you for what you did for me, but it was evidently for the fans who got a chance to get to know you.
Yeah, you definitely laid the groundwork on how to handle some of this stuff, Rick. But kudos to you, dude. I mean, 41 years in the show. I can't
Wow.
imagine what it's like this year. Your last season, you
Yeah,
spent 52 years in professional baseball.
yeah.
Unbelievable. So congrats to you, first off, just an incredible career. I can't imagine that it feels anything familiar than what you've ever dealt with, knowing that it's your last year. So it's got to be a little surreal, huh?
Yeah, Charlie and Tom, I'm taking in the season, every drop of it, every moment. I'm looking at everything I do as the last time I'm going to do it. I'm only doing 4 road trips this year, and I've already done the first 2 to Anaheim and Texas and San Diego. And I've got one more, Chicago and Houston, at the end of the year to Colorado, Anaheim, and Sacramento, because the Mariners are going to get to the playoffs. So I don't want to miss that final month of the season. They're going to win the American League West. They're going to
That's
get to
right.
the World Series. So I don't want to miss that road trip. Yeah, even last year when I went to Fenway Park in April, I had Shannon Dreher said, Shannon, take a picture of me, please, by the monster, because I think this is going to be the last time I come to Boston as the broadcaster for the Mariners.
Wow.
Even last year, I was thinking about this 2 years ago, talking about, with Greg Green, my boss, and Kevin Martinez about retiring after this season. Last year, doing all the games. So I signed a 2-year deal. This is the second year of the 2-year deal. Doing all the home games and select road trips. And they allowed me to pick what 4 trips I wanted to go on. So I've been thinking about this for a while, but yeah, I'm okay right now, talking about it. I get little melancholy, and I'm telling you, Charlie and Tom, at the end of the year, I'm going to be a doggone mess, because I know that's going to be it. I wanted to do this ever since I was a 12-year-old kid growing up in Chicago, doing games down in my basement, turning on the TV set, turning down the sound and doing Cub games, and Ernie Banks is up with the bases loaded. My mom goes, Ricky, what are you doing down there? I said, Mom, I'm busy right now. The bases are loaded. Ernie Banks is up, And I was pretending I was Jack Brickhouse. And you know the story. I wrote him a letter when I was 12 years old, and he wrote me back a letter. And that
So
was my
cool.
holy grail. Yeah. Real short. I'll try to keep it short. I went to Southern Illinois University, majored in radio and TV, played on the JV baseball team for 3 years, where I learned a lot from Itchy Jones, our head coach, great coach. Got a job in the minor leagues, 8 years in the minor leagues, and got to Seattle. Dave Niehaus hired me in 1983. And
Great year, by the
that's
way.
when I met you. Pardon?
Great year, by the way.
Yes. Yeah. Was that year you were born?
Yeah.
There you go.
Wow.
Oh my God, I'm old.
No, I'm sorry. I didn't mean that. No.
Thanks a lot, Tom.
No, it's, well,
But I went to Spring Training, and we went to Scottsdale to play the Cubs, and we're setting up, Kevin Krevin and I and Dave, and Jack Brickhouse was at the ball game. He had been retired for 2 years. Harry Carey was doing the games with Milo Hamilton, and Dave saw Mr. Brickhouse down in the field and said, "Go see your hero, go see her." I go, "No, he's busy signing autographs." He was like in his mid 80s, a distinguished gentleman. And because I watched him for years as a kid, finally he worked his way up to the press box and Dave said, "Go talk to him." And so I went up to him, Mr. Brickhouse. You don't remember this, but in 1965, when I was 12 years old, I wrote you a letter. He says, "Oh, really?" And you wrote me back. And I said, "I want to thank you." He said, what are you doing, Rick?" He said, and I said, "Because of you, I'm the new announcer for the Seattle Mariners, and I'm going to do today's game between the Mariners and the Chicago Cubs." He really? He said, "I wrote you a letter." I said, "Thank you very much." And he gave me a big hug.
Oh,
So anyway, that's how I got started. 12 years old, listening to the baseball on the radio, watching on TV, and wanting to do this. I wanted to be in the next Louis Aparicio. You guys lived your dreams, but for 52 years, I've been living my dream as a big league broadcaster, and I can't thank the Mariners enough for giving me this opportunity to be with the organization for 41 of my 52 years in baseball.
yeah.
Incredible. I mean, it's just such a joy, man. I'm just so thankful to have gotten to know you, Rick, and it's been nice to learn from you as I kind of embark on this side
Yeah.
of my post career. And you've been just so helpful with your advice and just the way you go about your business. So kudos and thanks for you, man. I just appreciate the friendship and everything you provide. So
You're welcome,
you're
buddy.
you're a legend, man. And not to mention, I mean, I think all this stuff on the field is amazing. And I just want to give you and your foundation, Toys for Kids, a big plug. You have done so much for the community, and it's
Yeah.
been such a joy to be a part of and to see smiles on these kids' faces and going through tough times. And if you just want to give a little rundown of how that started and where it's at now, because, as I've been in Seattle ever since I've gotten to know you, I said yes to this, and it's been such a joy to be a part of. And I will continue to say yes forever for you and for the foundation, because it's just so worth it.
Thank you, Charlie, and to you too, Tom. Yeah, it started 30 years ago. Dave Henderson and I were sitting at a bar in Pioneer Square in September of 1995. That was the great year that saved baseball in Seattle. If it wasn't for those guys, Edgar Martinez and Jay Buhner and Dan Wilson and Ken Griffey Jr., Randy Johnson, if it wasn't for those guys, we wouldn't be here. They saved baseball in 1995. They were 13 games out of first place with 2 months left to play. And they ended up in the one-game tie, beat the Angels, went to the postseason, beat the Yankees, and the rest is history. But in September, Henry and I went to this bar called the Firehouse. It's in Pioneer Square, and we were sitting at the bar having a cold beer, and I saw a report on the TV set above the bar. It said there were 8,316 homeless in Seattle that they can count. And if you walk around Pioneer Square during that time, and especially right now too, you could see homeless people. And, you thank the Lord for the life that he's given us. And so I asked Hendo, I said, "Man, if there's over 8,000 homeless people, how many are kids?" He said, "I don't know." I said, "Neither do I." I said, "Let's round up the guys." I said, "Let's pool our own money. Christmas is right around the corner, 3 months away. And something I always want to do, let's go find these kids and buy them a toy at Christmas time." And that's how it got started. As soon as the season was over, we ended up losing to Cleveland, had the great division series win against the Yankees. Hit the double and Junior scored, and 56,000 people went crazy in the Kingdom. We can talk a lot about that 95 season.
Sure.
But we pooled our own money, $18,000.
Wow.
And there was Edgar and Jay and their wives, and Danny and his wife Annie, and myself, and Dave Valley and his wife, Johnny Moses, John Olerud, Billy Hasselman, Paul Sorrento, Julio Cruz. 12 of us guys got together. I had $18,000. So the next day I went to my bank and I said, "I want to start a separate bank account for a charity that we're starting." And she goes, "Well, we need to put a name on the bank account. What are you going to do? Do you have a name for your charity?" I said, "No, we don't." And the bank teller said, "Well, what are you going to do with the money?" And I said, "We're going to buy Toys for Kids." She goes, "How about that?" So a bank teller at the Bank of America named our charity 30 years ago. So that's how we got Toys for Kids. So anyway, I had a friend of mine who was the executive director of homeless shelter in downtown Seattle, First Avenue Service Center, which is now called Compass. And he directed me to the Broadview Women's Shelter, which they have about 60 kids there, and Harborview Hospital, which took care of a lot of kids during the course of the year. and then they have a big Christmas party for the kids. With our first year, we had 3 agencies that we worked with, and we bought toys with our $18,000 for about 300 kids. Long story short, we started a little dinner and auction. 4 years later, thanks to Verge Fazio, the former publisher of the Seattle PI, and he was with the RBI Club, and we started a little dinner at the ballpark, and I brought in some baseballs, signed baseballs and jerseys and caps and things like that. We raised 20 grand. Anyway, we just exploded. Long story short, at last year's dinner and auction, 700 people were there. Charlie, you were there with Michelle, and we raised over $1 million.
No
And now
kidding.
how about that, Tommy? That's amazing, Charlie. And we work now with over 30 homeless agencies in and around King County and around the state. We bought toys for over 20,000 kids. We also started a scholarship program 10 years ago after Dave Henderson sadly passed away. He had a kidney transplant and then a blood clot. And so we started a Dave Henderson scholarship program 10 years ago. We had our first one, our first scholarship winner for $5,000. Then we did two the following year, four, because we kept raising all this money because this is a huge giving community. And this past year, we awarded 16 $5,000 college scholarships, Dave Henderson college scholarships. Over the last 10 years, we've awarded 80 $5,000 college scholarships.
Wow.
Last year, we started a Rick's Locker program, went to Dick's Sporting Goods, who we partnered with. I had sponsorship money for it. We bought 44 kids a brand new glove, a brand new bat. Charlie, you were there this year.
That was so awesome.
Baseball pants and belts. This year we did 66 kids, as you know, Charlie. You and Danny were there, Wilson. And so we bought them a brand new bat, brand new glove, belt, pants, and batting gloves. And then we also had about 12 teams, since the homeless, they lost everything because of the flooding. We bought 12, 3 helmets, 2 bats, balls, full set of catcher's gear, and a catcher's glove. And so we've been doing that the last couple of years. Anyway, thank you for asking me about Toys for Kids. We're going to keep going as long as we possibly can. I'm going to be able to devote more time to it. We're just getting bigger and better because these kids need our help, whether it's a toy at Christmas time, and it's more than that. It's hope that somebody cares about them and their moms going through very difficult situations, or a baseball glove and a bat for a kid that normally we couldn't afford it, get a chance to play, backpacks in August, and the scholarship program. So it's really been amazing. If anybody wants more information, and they can go to our website, which is tfkseattle.org. That's TFK for Toys for Kids, Seattle.org. Anyway, thank you for the way you support our organization, both you guys, and we really appreciate it. It's really been a blessing. It's really been rewarding.
We got to get Tom up to the big event in November. First or second week in November, dude. You got to come up.
Okay.
It is like the best of the best event. It is. You got to be there, man. You and Cass got to come up, dude.
November 14th, Tommy. If you can make it, I'll get you a hotel room at the Seattle Hyatt.
Right.
Hyatt Regency, Seattle.
November 15th. Wrote it down.
Yes, dude.
Love to have you there, man.
It is such a fun event, and there's such a strong community that is a part of it, and there's a lot of familiar faces, and you stay for the after party and have a good time as well.
Yeah.
Rick, you do the whole thing up just 10 out of 10.
Yeah, the Mariners are great sponsors for us. I mean, so many people are there for the Mariners organization. Former players are there, current players. J.P. Crawford, we needed $5,000 to get over $1 million. J.P. stood on his chair. He goes, "I got you," and he went with 5,000 more. He already donated a ton of money before that, and so it's just a lot of fun. We put on a heck of a show, and the kids benefit. The homeless kids, you get a toy at Christmas time and the other programs. Thank you, guys.
So we'll see you in November, Tom, for sure.
All right.
Yeah, right. I'll be there.
All right.
Yeah.
Good.
Put my name on a seat.
You got it right next to mine, hopefully.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You got it.
We're a 2-pack, Rick. We roll together, Yeah.
You guys are 2 peas in a pod, man. That's for darn sure. You guys are from the same mold, You got the same joy about life, let alone baseball too. So thank you for that.
The truth?
Well,
Ain't that the truth?
That's kind of how this podcast got started. Just enjoyed.
Tell me about that.
Enjoyed talking to each other, and the bullpen. What happens in the bullpen is the conversations are all over the place, right? Like, yes, we're following the game, we're talking baseball, we're but it is, I mean, there's nothing really off limits out there. And there's a bunch of different perspectives and personal, stories that people, in the bullpen will share. And, it's just kind of a fun melting pot of a bunch of different people with different backgrounds, learning about each other, understanding each other, while, also supporting each other in our own little pocket down there, away from the field, away from the dugout. We're kind of like out in the boonies, if you will. And
you're your own family out there.
And you miss that.
sure.
You miss that. You really only get that in the bullpen. So, we just enjoyed talking to each other and sharing our thoughts and history and stories and perspectives. It's just like, I think both of our wives were like, you guys should just talk about this on a podcast. No, nobody wants to hear this.
Yeah, exactly.
But, shoot, what else are we doing? So we decided to get started.
Well, tell the folks what it's like to be in the bullpen. I mean, you guys get serious from the fifth, sixth inning on, because that phone might ring and you're going to be warming up real soon. But what are some of the funny stories or antics? You flip seeds and meet interesting people, or take the people behind the curtains there. What it's like to be a fun guy in the bullpen.
Well, first off, you have to be willing to be vulnerable down there, because anything goes. You may find yourself in a uncomfortable situation, if you will. Not an uncomfortable situation, but maybe a question you don't want to ask. Because I remember some, right out the gate, first or second inning, we're starting to play some sort of raunchy would you rather. Okay, well, would you rather have this or that? And some of these, they're just so ridiculous and out there. And I think there are some former teammates that we had played with and guys you covered that were probably a little more grotesque, if you will. I won't name names. I'll just bring them on the show. We can talk about it then. But I remember those things, and it's like, what happens is you're down in the bullpen, and like Tom said, you're a little family, and it's really tough sometimes to feel like you have your own little niche down there, but you have to be a little vulnerable and be willing to share things about yourself, because that's really the only way you can create trust on the fly. Is like, hey, get to know me, get to know my preferences. Here's who I am. Here's how I grew up. Well, you know what? I think that movie sucks, man. You think you like that movie? you really like that movie? I can't believe
you like fried tomatoes. I can't believe you like fried tomatoes.
But it's like, that's kind of like the banter back and forth. And, I think there's always that fun dynamic, especially when you have the older veteran presence, guys that have been there and done that, versus the fresh blood, the young guys that don't know what to do and where to sit and where to go and whatnot. So there's always that fun dynamic when you start a season and everyone's trying to do the best they can to be successful. But you got to kind of take it light, because, as you know, the bullpen is so unpredictable. So you have to be so willing to accept the fact that you're not going to have control of hardly anything.
Did you ever sit in the wrong spot?
Oh yeah,
the wrong spot.
Yep.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. You learn the hard way, and you might maybe not learn that at home. You learn pretty quick, but on the road, there may be like, no, I'm sitting here, and then some veteran comes in, and no,
beat it,
I'm
nerd.
sitting there. Yeah, beat it. Yeah, beat it, nerd.
I know this is your show, but I want to know this because this is fun for me. What's the most difficult bullpen in the major leagues? Is it Fenway Park in Boston because the fans are right on you? The old Yankee Stadium, or where was the toughest bullpen for you guys?
Tom, I'll let you go first. I mean, I think it's evolved, because the current day now, there are no on-field bullpens. I would actually say, if we remove all of the on-field bullpens, because Rick, I'll tell you right now, there's nothing worse than throwing a pitch past the catcher warming up and having to have you then go, hold on, wait a minute. This guy that's coming in the game doesn't know where it's going. He just threw one down the right field line. We got to pause for a few minutes.
That's right.
I hated on-field bullpens. I absolutely hated them. I don't know how you felt, Tom, but
no, the same. I would say Oakland, because again, the fans are right there, and yeah, you're just on the field, and we played there more often, right? Same division, so more experience there. But yeah, I think San Diego was also on the field, right? And in 11, 12.
What about bullpens not on the field? There's way more that are like. That's what I'm saying.
Not on the field. Yeah, Boston's tough. It's small. We talked about the bathroom in Boston's bullpen.
It's like a
from the 1800s. It feels like, yeah.
room. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
just it's so. And if you get there, we've played a couple series in July or August where it's just steaming, 92 degrees, humid as can be, and just like sweating out there. That one's tough. You know that I think the bullpen that I ended up hating the most,
Houston.
just in terms of the vibe as an opposing player, was Philadelphia. Like going to the Phillies, those fans were
Yeah.
whew,
Tough.
different level of coming at you. You know, I think they said some things that I didn't expect. So, but it's always fun going on the road. But Philly was definitely difficult. They made it sure known that they didn't like you and anything about you. So that was always tough, you know. So you got to battle that though. That's like the fun thing about being a bullpen guy. You're like, all right, well, another thing I can't control. Yep. Yeah, throw it at me. Give it all you got. And it's so funny, Rick, as a guy who has like a total funny last name in Furbush. I mean, I've heard it all from childhood. At like once I got up to the big leagues, I really only appreciated the ones I hadn't heard because I'm like, okay, yeah, I've heard that before. Oh, that was a good one, man. Yeah, I appreciate that.
That's all you got? Come on.
But the things you deal with down there, for sure, man, it is something else.
Oh, they got to love that if you react in a fun way to them, then you
For
diffuse
sure.
them. They go, we can't get to this guy.
Yeah, exactly. You got to do it when you have the confidence in your skill set. Then you can go out and execute, and you realize as a reliever, you don't need that many throws to get ready in the bullpen, plus the pitches you have on the field. So you kind of do the math and realize how your body reacts. And as a bullpen guy throwing 60, 70 plus games a season, you kind of have to, you know, pick and choose when to hit the gas pedal. And most of it's usually out on the field. So the bullpen is just kind of get the engine started, get it going, and then use the pitches on the field to really, you know, get after it and make sure that you know your body well enough to be efficient and strong. Because as a reliever, it is absolutely paramount that you come out firing strikes. Like the worst thing, and I'm sure you've seen it time over time and time again, Rick, is managers just hate relievers that come in and walk the house. So
you don't want to walk that first guy. You're like, oh.
No, for sure.
Yeah, Shannon Dreher came up with this great idea this year where she's videotaping on the pregame show our favorite booths and what we like about each and every booth that we're in. And T-Mobile Park has, I think, the best booth in the major leagues. It's big, it's wide, it's comfortable. We're not on top of one another. There's the upper tier where you guys sit, room in the back. We got a nice angle just right up. We're level with the 200 level, right above the lower bowl. So we got a great viewpoint of the game. We can see, whereas the newer ballparks are way up high. Texas is way up high. We're looking down at home plate. It looks like a dinner plate, you know. Or Washington National Park is way up high. We're above the lights at National Park in Washington. And Pittsburgh is way up high. They're nice booths, but they're way up. To a fly ball is way below you, you know. And sometimes the one hopper back to the mound looks like a line drive. So you have this crazy viewpoint of the game. But Anaheim is one of my favorite booths. It's big, it's spacious, it's down low, right above the lower bowl, right about the same viewpoint as we have. And as long as it's wide and spacious, it's good. Like Toronto, we're crammed in there, and they haven't changed it since they opened up in June of 1989. The same gray, dull paint. You know, it looks like you're in the inside of a tank, and it's just not fun. And you're climbing over each other to get out of the booth and everything. But the ones that are spacious, you know, Anaheim is great. The ballpark well, it used to be Minute Maid Park, and now it's, I think, Dyken Park. And both our press box, our radio booth, is the best in baseball. As long as it's comfortable and we're down low. But the best ever, but it was the most dangerous booth in the history of baseball, was old Tiger Stadium. Tiger Stadium was hung below the upper deck. We were right above the box seats, and we were so close to home plate. We were like 80 feet behind home plate. We were right there. I used to warm up Phil Roof from the TV booth. He'd throw me up a glove, and I'd play catch with him. That's how close we were. You know? And when Kirk Gibson was up, if he struck out, he would always yell this F-bomb. And so you could hear it 5 by 5, you know. So I would always tell our engineer, be ready, 2 strikes on Gibby, you know, be careful. And
That's hilarious.
Because we were that close. But the most dangerous part was the foul balls that came back. You had to dodge them. They were coming back 100 miles an hour. And one knocked Nellie Bryles off his chair, and he fell backwards and everything because that ball comes up hot. Even in our booth at T-Mobile Park, they come in hot. And then there was not this spring, but last spring in Maryvale, where I'm doing the game, and Reese Hoskins is up and he hits a foul ball and it's coming right back at me. And I go, foul ball. Hey, it's coming back. It's real close. And all of a sudden, the ball was just like right here in front of my face. And luckily, I turned around and hit me in the back of the head and knocked me down. The ball hit me in the head. It bounced back into the stadium somewhere because wasn't in the booth and knocked me down. I'm kind of strangling on my headset cord. I told Gary Hill, keep broadcasting, keep broadcasting. I had a lump in the back of my head the size of an egg, and oh my god! So yeah, that really hurt.
I heard the audio on that, Rick. That
Did you?
definitely.
My
Ouch.
gosh! And the Doc Pelto came up and checked me out. The EMT from the ballpark checked me out. They wanted me to go home, and I said no. I think I'm better off. So I just finished the game. My mom always said I have a hard head. So anyway, there's some that come up in the booth, but now you know what? I'm smart. I get out of the way. You think that they take their time getting back that far, but no, they come in hot, all of them. So I learned my lesson. You got to get out of the way. But ours, T-Mobile Park, is by far, I think, the best in Major League Baseball. We got it right because when they built the ballpark, they asked Kevin Kremen about what would you like in your booth, and he said we need it wide. You know, we need it deep because we have a lot of books and monitors to put on the counters. As you know, you guys have sat up there and done pre and post game interviews and shows and things like that, and you watched us. So we did it right, thanks to Kevin Kremen and the people who were concerned enough about asking us the questions. What do we need in a booth? And ours is perfect.
I agree. Rick, now you've done this for so long. You've seen so many great broadcasters that have also been in the game forever. I'll put you on the spot. Do you have any early career mistakes that really helped you in the long term?
Oh boy, we don't have time. How long is this show?
As long as you
This
want it to
interview?
be, yeah.
Well, I tell you what, opening day, April 6th or whatever, 1983, I'm in the big leagues for the first time with the great Dave Niehaus, who was the greatest person that ever happened to me. He got me to Seattle. I love David, his family, Marilyn, and the whole family and the grandkids. And after 8 years in the minor leagues, I mean, I'm broadcasting in Alexandria, Louisiana, Savannah, Georgia, ballparks that are 100 years old, Watt Powell Park in Charleston, Lucas County Rec Center in Toledo, Ohio, which was a racetrack. I think, Charlie, you may have pitched there, back in the day. So now I'm in the Kingdom. It was like the Taj Mahal at the time for me. After 8 years in the minor leagues, I'm finally in the big leagues, and it's the Seattle Mariners against the New York Yankees. I mean, it's not the Alexandria Aces against the Toledo Mud Hens or the Charleston Charlies. It's Gaylord Perry against Ron Guidry. And I was so excited. I was talking like crazy. I did 3 innings of play-by-play, the third inning, sixth, and seventh. David did the other 6 innings. Of the first 2 innings, David's trying to do the play-by-play, and I'm talking, like crazy, yeah, Gaylord with a good fastball in the inside corner, and the windup and the next pitch, a swinging of ground ball to short. Todd made a nice play, backhand throw, strong throw to the first base. And finally, David had enough of this for about 2 innings. And during the game, during the inning, he reached over, turned off my mic, and said, "You don't have to talk after every pitch." I said, "Okay, Dave, okay, Dave." So I calmed down, and he was the greatest mentor, the greatest teacher, the greatest friend, the greatest broadcaster I've ever met in my life. I made a lot of mistakes, when your mouth gets going and your brain isn't catching up and you say things. But there was this one game in Yankee Stadium in 1991, and we're playing, of course, the Yankees. And Matt Noakes, who you guys know, was just traded away by the Tigers to the Yankees. And so he was traded away by the Tigers where he played for Sparky Anderson. Then his first day with the Yankees, Stump Merrill was fired and Bucky Dent was hired. So I said to Joe Simpson on TV, my color analyst partner, I said, "Joe, in the last 48 hours, and I tried to rip off. I said, in the last 48 hours, Matt Noakes has played for Sparky, Stumpy, and Bucky. And I said, that's sort of like three of the seven dwarfs. And I tried to mention three of the dwarfs. I said, Dopey, Sneezy, or not, I should have said Sneezy, but Dopey, Happy, and I said Sleazy. And Joe started laughing. And I go, I don't think one of them was sleazy. So Joe laughed. but the more Joe laughed, the more I laughed. The more he laughed, and I got the giggles. I couldn't stop laughing because I called Stumpy Sleazy, one of the seven dwarfs, and I missed a ground ball to Derek Jeter at short, and the director, Mark Engelbrecht, says, "Come on, guys, get it back, get it back." But we were cracking up so hard that it's got to be around somewhere. But that's where I made kind of a funny mistake, but we enjoyed it. But back in the day, there was a lot of it because of Dave Niehaus. Dave knew everybody, and Dave would invite guys to his home, to have lunch, whether it was Euchre or Cookie Rojas, or he had so many friends in baseball, and I would go tag along and just listen to these great stories. But a lot of times we'd go, back in the day, they had press rooms. So after the game, we'd go to the press room, which was the media dining room, and the writers would show up, the broadcasters would show up. In Kansas City, George Brett would come up and visit with us because Ken Brett, his older brother, was our color analyst on TV back in the 90s. And so that was so much fun just listening to these writers and broadcasters tell their stories and just to sit and listen to Dave and those guys. I just learned so much about the game, about broadcasting, and I got a wealth of knowledge that I could retell or clean up the stories that I could tell on the air the next day or the next week, the next year, or 10 years from now. But yeah, we tried to spend as much time as we possibly could at the ballpark and after the games. Not so much during the day because everybody's got their own lives at home, being with their families and things like that. And then when they're on the road, they're with their families. But we spent as much time as we possibly could whenever we could.
Nice. Now, Rick, you have been ingrained in the Pacific Northwest in people's lives. I mean, I see it now living here and talking with people. I mean, their entire lives, childhood is like your voice, right? They've listened to you, they've heard you forever, and you've had some fantastic calls, very memorable, historic calls. Do you have one that's a favorite of yours? I mean, I'm sure that as you've done, walk-off homers and walk-off wins and such,
Yeah.
some maybe sound better to you than others. Your own critique inside says, "Oh, I should have said that better. Oh, I should have done that better." But do you have one? Do you have one that you just feel like that was the grand salami, knocked it out of the park?
Well, I mean, there was the swinging a ground ball, streaks out by Stowe down the right field line to the bullpen. Here comes Blowers. Here comes Tino. Here comes Joey. Throw home is cut off by Langston. Relay home gets on by Allenson. Torres scores. Here comes Soho. Soho scores. Everybody scores. That was the one game playoff in 1995.
So
We played 144 games that year because of the strike. Thank God you guys came back. And we had a one game playoff against the California Angels. And Luis Soho got that broken bat base hit past JT Snow at first base, down the right field line with the bases loaded, and that propelled Randy Johnson to a 9-1 win over the Angels, and we made the playoffs for the very first time. And that's one of my favorite calls because it happened in the seventh inning. Dave had all the great calls, rightly so, because he had the ninth inning when you're the guy. That's when the games are won and lost, in the ninth inning. But that happened in the seventh inning, and thank goodness, every time I saw Luis Soho, he was a coach later on with the Yankees, I'd give him a big hug. Luis, thank you so much, for getting that base hit past JT Snow over at first base. So, and then Cal Raleigh's home run to put us in the playoff to end the 21-year drought. Off they stay fair down the right field line. He did it. The Mariners are going to the playoffs for the first time in 21 years, clinching the West last year for the first time in 24 years. I've been really blessed to watch a lot of great baseball in Mariners history, but the best is yet to come, and it's going to happen this year when the Mariners get to the World Series. The Mariners are going to the World Series. The Mariners win the World Series. That's going to be the best ever.
Let's go. I can't wait. That would literally be the best thing ever. And it's just so deserved for the team, the organization, the history, people like you.
Hey, let me talk about one game in June of 2012. I don't know if you guys remember this particular game. It was against the Los Angeles Dodgers, and Kevin Millwood started the game. I don't know if you remember this game, but Kevin Millwood was throwing a no-hitter after 6 innings and had to come out of the game because he strained his groin. And then 5 other relief pitchers came in and got the remaining 9 outs for a combined 6-pitcher no-hitter. And that doesn't happen hardly ever in the game of baseball. 6 pitchers combined for a no-hitter. Do you know who those other 5 guys were?
You're looking at 2 of them.
That's right. That's right. Charlie, you were the first one to come in, right?
I was the first one in. I guess that is kind of true. You may have blanked your memory in the ninth inning. That's why the no hitter happened. Because
Yes.
if you'd known more about it,
Tell the
Tom, or
rest
were
of the
paying
story.
attention. But yes, Rick, as the thing is, man, I had a. And I told Tom about this. I had a leg up. That's why if I didn't get called in first, I don't think it would have happened. My major league debut was the same situation. The starting pitcher got hurt, and I had to come in and warm up on the field. So my first game in the big leagues that's how I have to get it done,
Warm up.
right? So then, fast forward to the next year, I get traded and all this stuff, and I have this same scenario. I'm like, oh, I've been here before. I can do this. You know what I mean? I've gotten out of this. The hard part was it was a 0-0 ball game at that point. He'll be back. It was a 0-0 ball game at that point, and we're playing the Dodgers Friday night. And it's just like it's absolutely bonkers that I came in, got that done. Actually, if you look at the box score, I made the best error of my life. I had a swinging bunt, launched it down the right field line, E1. I mean, keep the no-hitter intact. Talk about self-awareness, Rick. I mean, that's what it is. I was just so self-aware to know, like, hey, this is actually more important. Let's launch it in right field. Let's make this game a little more interesting. Oh, my gosh. But so I come to find out, how about this? Take this another whole level. Obviously, we'll give a shout-out to Stephen Pryor, Lucas Licky, Brandon Lee, Tom Wilhelmsen. Obviously, he didn't realize fully, and we'll get into that. But we looked this up. This is wild to me. We looked up, I was curious, how many total no-hitters have there ever been? And I think it's 326 or 8 or something like that.
Yeah.
So then we know there's only been 24 perfect games ever, right? So of the no-hitters, how many total have been combined no-hitters?
With 6 pitchers.
We tied the Astros. There's another 6-pitcher no-hitter started by, I think, Roy Oswalt, and you got Octavio Dotel and Brad Lidge. Anyways, that was back in like 03, I think. But the point is, we looked this up. I'm astonished. I had no idea. There are more perfect games than combined no-hitters.
Right. And that's something.
Like the combined no-hitter, in my mind, I thought there would be, of the 320 whatever, I thought there'd be like 60 or 70.
Right. No.
But I'm like,
it's
there's
more
only
rare.
It's like even more rare. So when Tom and I found that out, I was like, we wish we found that out in 2012. That would have made us feel even more good about our skill set.
Well, just think about it. Any one guy can throw a no-hitter for 9 innings, but to pass the baton to 5 other guys and to keep that baton going and nobody drop it is pretty much miraculous. So there's not that many. So what you guys did that year was very special. We had a perfect game thrown against us in April of that year by Philip Umber of the Chicago White Sox. And you guys came along through the 6-pitcher combined no-hitter at home against the Dodgers, and then later on in August 15th of 2012, Felix threw a perfect game against the Tampa Bay Rays. So that was quite the year for the pitchers.
That 2012,
in our
that
ballpark.
was crazy. Yeah, I know. The fact, when the first one with the Philip Humber one, that was early in the year. I couldn't believe to see the perfect game, and then we get the no-hitter, and then Felix has his amazing perfect game, and it's just what a part of, and that's what I think is so cool, Rick, is like you got to, every time you step in the booth, every 162 games, you don't know what's going to happen, but you could be witnessing history. So to have that opportunity every night, I can only imagine it's just dream come true job. Like, all right, what are we going to see tonight? Hopefully something cool, but there's certainly that fun feeling of not knowing what's going to happen each evening.
Charlie, I realized that after doing this for over 50 years. You really don't know what to expect. 6-pitcher combined no-hitter, or a perfect game, or a walk-off grand slam home run, or Cal Raleigh's walk-off home run to actually put the team in the playoffs. You just got to be ready for it because you want to be that conduit between you and the fans. And so, you realize that. And then no matter how long you've been doing this game, or Charlie, for you, how long you've been in the game, there's always going to be something you see that you've never seen before. Like the other day, Cortez hits a line drive right back at Logan Gilbert and lodges in his jersey. It went between 2 buttons and lodged in his jersey, and his belly's fishing for the ball. And I thought for sure that's an out. It came out. But it was ruled a base hit, a dead ball. You can't use your equipment, which I guess the uniform is equipment, which I didn't understand. I don't agree with the rule. He didn't drop the ball. If it hits you in the head and you catch it, it's an out, right? Well, what
Right.
about your belly? But anyway, it's a joy to be ready for history. But one of the greatest things I ever saw was in 1990, in August of 1990, when father and son played in the same game in the big leagues. Ken Griffey Jr. was 19 when he broke in 1989. Now he's 20 in 1990. And it's August, and Woody Woodward, our general manager of the ball club, made a deal with the Cincinnati Reds to acquire Ken Griffey Sr., who could still play at the age of 40. And I said on the air, the great story is that Sr. was still playing well enough at 40, and Jr. getting to the big leagues so quickly that allowed this amazing thing to happen that we witnessed, on the field. A 20-year-old kid with his 40-year-old father playing in the same big league game together. And then I remember them running out in the field together at the Kingdome against the Kansas City Royals. And I said, this is something that's, should be played out in the sandlot with a father and a son, or in a backyard or a family picnic. But here it is in a major league game, in a major league ballpark. A father and son are playing in the same game together for the very first time in the big leagues. And who knows if we'll ever see this again. And sure enough, the story continued to get better. About a week later, we're in Anaheim. Kirk McCaskill is pitching for the Angels, and Senior's hitting second and hits a home run to left center field. And Junior comes up, and the count is 3-0, and Jim Lefebvre gives him the swing away sign, not take. So on a 3-0 pitch, he hits a home run in the exact same spot as Senior hit his. So for the first time in baseball history, father and son hit back-to-back home runs, and the story just got better and better and better. And Senior had a great final month of the season. I think he hit about 370 with about 3 or 4 home runs, drove in about 17 or 18 runs, and Junior had an outstanding first full year in the big leagues. So you never know what you're going to see. You never know if you're going to be a part of history. So you just got to be ready for it. And when you are a part of history, it's one of the greatest feelings in the world, because they're going to hear that call forever and ever and a day.
It's so true, and so happy to have gotten to know you, Rick, because I know you do so much to get ready for all these games, and you prep hard, you study hard, and you know your stuff. So it's always fun to hear you pull out some fun stories of the past and talk about how that compares to the current team, and that's kind of what I want to talk about now, is just the optimistic feeling when you sweep a team here, coming off the St. Louis sweep here. It just, I think it can change things so quick. And when you look at early in the season, it's really, really hard to judge what you're getting, because I think, everyone's getting their feet wet, and you got so many games to go, and you add in the World Baseball Classic, if that adds any sort of hiccup into guys' routines, getting settled into the season. And it's just amazing when you can go on the road and you sweep the team in 3 games, and you're like, all right, well, this is what the team's about. So I can imagine, from your vantage point, as well as what I see, is that there's a lot to like about this team. And when they start clicking, they can be really dangerous.
No doubt about it, Charlie. The mood swings can happen so quickly in the game of baseball, because early in the season, everything is so magnified. And the Mariners did get off to a slow start, which I think the World Baseball Classic had something to do with that. Not only just our guys that went, Cal and Josh Naylor and Julio Rodriguez, who struggled in the early part of the year, but other guys as well. But everything is magnified, good and bad. But if you take that section of games, first 16 games of the year, and you put it in the middle of July or June, you don't notice it as much as you do in the early part of the year, because it is magnified early. Oh, what's going on with the team, blah, blah, blah. But it's just part of the journey. And a baseball season, as you know better than anybody else, it's a long journey. It's a roller coaster ride. You got to strap yourself in and be ready for the ups and downs. And the teams that are successful are the ones that can have an even keel and understand that, hey, when times are bad, they're going to get better. I know what the numbers are on the back of my baseball card. Cal Raleigh wasn't going to hit 160 for the year with 1 or 2 home runs. Julio wasn't going to hit 175. Josh Naylor wasn't going to hit 180. Rob Refsnyder and Connor Joe weren't going to hit 0, for the entire year. They were going to hit. And now they're hitting. And when those big three are going, everything is right with the world. But the other guys are contributing too. Cole Young is having an amazing first full season of the big leagues. He's one of the best defensive players in Major League Baseball. He's getting his base hits at the bottom of the order. J.P. Crawford is back with the team. The big three are hitting. Rob Refsnyder had a pinch hit home run to win the game the other day against the St. Louis Cardinals. His first hit was a home run. Connor Joe is hitting now. The pitching staff is, I think, the best in baseball. The starting staff, Emerson Hancock, has been outstanding. That bullpen is outstanding. So it's a team that is primed to get to the postseason, and is primed to get to the World Series this year, and is primed to, I think they have the ability to win it all. Danny Wilson has done an amazing job with this club. And like I said, things were slow in the early part of the year, and I think the World Baseball Classic probably had something to do with that because, as you mentioned, they don't get the reps when they're gone for 2 weeks that like they would at spring training when you amp up, and amp up to the start of the regular season. Your timing wasn't there, I think, when the guys came back. But Danny's done an amazing job. Last year, the Mariners won 90 games. Guess how many games the Los Angeles Dodgers won last year with the highest payroll, or second highest payroll in baseball, maybe the Mets? They won 93 games. But in the first 2 months of the season, they were without George Kirby. And then Logan Gilbert last year, after a great start, Charlie, was gone for 2 months. Bryce Miller was hurt most of the season. Then Brian Wu was lost at the end of the year, and we didn't see him until they could relieve, late in the playoffs against Toronto. And they still won 90 games. I give Danny Wilson all the credit in the world for managing that team through all those ups and downs, and Manny Acta and the coaching staff, and Pete Woodworth and Trent Blank and Perry Hill to support these guys to get them ready for each and every game. But this team, I think, is primed to have a great season. Jerry DiPoto and Justin Hollander have done an amazing job to bring in Brendan Donovan, an all-star from the St. Louis Cardinals, to acquire Refsnyder and Connor Joe to hit right-handed. Luke Raley has been outstanding because he's healthy. He can do the things he's able to do, hitting home runs, driving in runs. So I'm really, really impressed with this baseball team, and they're going to have a great year. And it's going to be a heck of a ride, and I can't wait to bring it to the fans throughout the
That's
season.
right. Speaking of what happened most recently, we got to see it over the last couple of years, and now you've seen it now fully deployed as this new ABS system. You've seen so
Yeah.
much change, I'm sure, over the course of your career and what they've tried to do to, add pitch clock, now this and instant
Yeah.
replay. And there's a bunch of things I think are actually doing really good. But, what we saw the other day is kind of picture perfect moment for the Mariners is that you have an 0-2 count, and if you don't have that opportunity in the past, you don't even have the chance to hit that homer.
Right.
So it totally changed the course of the game. I think everyone will look back, regardless of how the season unfolds, you can look back at that game and say, wow, if we didn't have this system in place, we may have lost that game or never even had a chance to win the games. I mean, what a series of events and game changing, I think, that is so good. Do you feel that the ABS system is good and well received? I certainly do.
I do too, Charlie. Years ago, I was against a lot of technology. I want the players to be human. I want the umpires to be human. But this technology really works because it's quick. And that situation with Rob Refsnyder the other day, that was a pitch way outside. It wasn't even close. It was called strike three. So he challenges, and the count instead of 0-2 works it to 3-2 and ends up hitting a pinch hit home run to win the ball game. It won the game. Yes, if there was no ABS, last year there wasn't any, Rob would have struck out, and the St. Louis Cardinals probably win that ball game. So I really like this technology. It's quick. It really works. There's strategy to it, when to use it. Try to save it for later on in the games. But if you need it early, if the bases are loaded and 2 outs, and you strike out on 3-2 pitch that you know is ball 4, boom, boom, you challenge. Instead of strike 3, it's ball 4, and you get a run, and maybe now you get a base hit. Now you got 3 runs on the board. Whereas before ABS, you would have 0. So I really love the technology because it does work. You only get the 2 challenges, and you stay with 2 as long as you keep winning. So I really like that. The best thing that ever happened over the last few years has been the pitch clock, getting these guys to throw a pitch within 15 seconds with nobody on, 20 seconds with somebody on base, because now fans can come out to the ballpark knowing it's going to take 2.5 hours to play instead of 3.5 hours. And that has really helped out the game of baseball. It hasn't taken away from any of the action. It's just compressed the action into a time where we can enjoy the game of baseball.
Yeah, it's been a treat, and I think everyone is looking at it almost as like an added excitement, I think, to the game. Everyone I've talked to has been like, it's actually super exciting when you get a challenge, right? It's like, what is going to happen, right? It just adds another level of unpredictability. But I think my thought on it is, now that the cat's out of the bag, will there be any consensus that 2 isn't enough? Like, would there be a situation that like my only thought is, and just, as I've talked with various people about this, is if we want to always get the call right, right? I mean, I think that's the goal, right? To have the system make sure that
Yeah.
we're keeping people accurate and the call is accurate. And if you run out of challenges and then it's late in the game, and you don't have any challenges left, are we still accepting of the fact that we're willing to get the call wrong just because you don't have challenges? Or now that
Yeah.
the system is out here, will the perception change and say, well, we just always want to get the call right? So I'm really interested to see how this system evolves, because at the end of the day, you just want to get the call right, but will it change? I mean, because I think, as you've seen, the strategy has been kind of different each day. And it's like, well, yeah, if you have two left in the ninth inning, let's just burn them and see what happens, right? Where early in the game, you may not do that. But as we've seen, I can recall a sixth or seventh game in, Cal had an at bat, team didn't have any challenges left. It was clearly a ball he couldn't challenge.
Yeah.
And, it's like, oh, well, too bad, man. So I just wonder if they'll ever increase the amount if it makes sense without increasing the time of game.
Yeah, I think it will increase the time of game. I hope they don't increase it, because then you'll have guys challenging all the time, and it is quick. And it does reward teams that know when to challenge and what guys to challenge. You don't want your pitcher to challenge. You want Cal and Mitch Garver to challenge. You want your catcher to challenge. You don't want it to come from the bench or anything like that. So it rewards the teams that know when to challenge, and you got catchers behind the plate that know the strike zone and know their guys. It rewards them. But if you have more challenges, then it's going to lengthen the time of game. I just hope it stays at 2. I like it just the way it is. So make some good challenges and don't burn them, don't waste them. And Jazz Chisholm of the Yankees has been absolutely terrible. He's fined himself $1,000. I think he's 1 for 8. And you can't have that, because you need those two, especially late in the ball game, when it really does matter. Or if it really does matter in the early part of the game, it can change the outcome of the game as well. So I hope it stays at 2. As long as you keep winning them, you still got 2 at the end of the game.
Yeah. I mean, I could see maybe going to 3, like that would be my only thought, is not go, hey, unlimited. But if you did 1 in the first 3 innings, 1 in the second 3 innings, 1 in the third 3 innings, would that be overkill? Or, I'm just only saying it gives everyone a fair chance to continue to use the system. And, how this is his first year, right? So we're going to learn a lot. We're going to see who's good at it, who's bad at it. Obviously, Jazz Chisholm is off to a tough start. There's room for improvement, man. You got a long season, but I can imagine he's not going to challenge many at the end of the day.
Yeah. No, I think they're going to tell Jazz to, okay, that's enough. No more challenges from you. But if you know what you're doing, you still keep the 2 challenges. So I do like it. It is fun for the fans. It's fun for us, and it's so accurate. It's 1/10 of an inch off the plate or a thread of the ball on the strike zone, and it's like, oh, it's you win or lose that challenge. It's exciting for the fans, and it can change the outcome of a game. So we've seen that the other day.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's going to be a fun ride this year, man. And you're going to be at the center of it. Hopefully this season goes exactly as we all anticipate, and are really hopeful in this 26 ball club. Dan Wilson is doing everything he can to bring out everyone each night to go out and perform. And it's always fun to get the season started and ride that roller coaster ride as we're on the journey of 162. But Rick, we just want to say thank you, man. We appreciate all the time, everything you do on and off the field. You're an absolute legend. You're one of the great mentors, friends in our lives, and we just appreciate hopping on. And honestly, if you don't mind us asking, we'd love to have you on again, maybe before the season is over, and we can be the shoulder that you weep on if you need. We are here to console you.
I tell you what, you're going to be the shoulders that I'm going to jump on after we win the World
Yes.
Series.
Yeah.
Those are the shoulders I want to jump on, because this club can do it. Charlie, Tom, you're 2 of my favorite people in 52 years of broadcasting. You're 2 of my favorites, and I love you guys. The fans love you, and that's the other thing I want to say. The fans in Seattle and the Pacific Northwest are the best in baseball. Wherever we go, down to San Diego or in Anaheim, man, a lot of fans showed up. When one of our guys hit a home run or made a great catch, it sounded like a home game. 40,000 fans are showing up pretty much on a nightly basis. We sold out, a bunch of games in the early part of the year. and we drew about 2.5 million fans last year. The fans have been unbelievable. They've been great to me, and I just want to thank them for 41 wonderful years here in Seattle. And after this year, after the Mariners enjoy a World Series victory, I'm not going anywhere. I'm still going to stick around. Whatever the ball club wants me to do, I'll do it, whether it's the ceremonies on the field or helping talk to groups up in the suites and working with the alumni, working with you guys. I'm still going to be a Seattle Mariner for the rest of my life. But I'm going to enjoy this season more than any season before because it's going to be something special, guys. And I love being with you, and I love you guys, man.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. We love you too, Rick. And I think, it looks like we may have lost Tom there, but that's
Yeah,
gonna
we lost Tommy. Tommy, come on.
Hey, exactly. That's what happens. We run into some technology issues, if you will, but
It's all right.
unless he's going to come back, I'll just give it a quick wrap up. Listen, folks, hope you guys loved it. And Rick, dude, you're amazing. I know the fans.
Thank you, buddy.
I've gotten to see all the fan love, and I try to relay that to people that may not have the chance to connect with you. So I know from everyone else's side of things, they're just so appreciative that they had Rick Rizzs calling games for these last 41 years, and hopefully this 41st year is going to be the best yet, man. It's going to be the best.
It will be, Charlie.
Why not have a little parade action at the end, right? Going down 4th Avenue. I think that sounds fantastic.
I would
So,
love to see that happen. I think this is a club with Danny Wilson as the manager, and these guys are really, really special. I really believe in my heart with the fan base that we have that it's going to happen this year. So thank you, buddy. It's a joy always being with you, whether it's on your Late Innings podcast or when you're out at the ballpark. It's always great to see you and Tommy.
appreciate it. Yeah, we'll be seeing you in the booth real soon, but that's going to do it for another episode of the Late Innings Show. We appreciate you hanging down in the bullpen with us, and we'll see you next week.